Yo, what's good, people? How y'all doing today? Hopefully doing pretty well. Made some weird stuff for you this morning. I don't know what it is. But I can show you what it's made of. It's made of three things. Little modular rack. This one's just being creamed out into ambient nothingness, really. Just like a little chromatic thing. And then there's some drums. And then there's some metaphysical function in the background for weirdness and oddities and stuff. Slightly augmented patch of the background radiation preset for those keeping track at home. Anybody have a good weekend out there? Some tea does sound nice, right? Yeah, it is so wet here. It's so wet. We went from our like embedded in snow and ice to a second atmospheric river right in a row. This one very fluid. So we've been on storm watch for the past like 4 days. Flood watch. And now apparently it's going to be like 60 degrees or something because, hey, why not? How's everybody else's wacky weather out there? I suggest the Earl Grey, Liv. It's quite tasty today. Alright, I am going to finish up this pack of sci-fi sounds today. We'll see. We'll see. That's what I said last week, and it did not get done, so we'll see. We'll see. Namachicha, welcome in. Happy Monday to you. Yeah, tea is a good choice. Tea is a good choice. All right, so to get us in the mood, let's stop this. Let's stop this noise. And we're actually going to zoom in back into this track, but first I'm going to shut down these guys so I don't get any weird, unexpected things happening. And I left off on this guy, I believe. A little bit different than what we were just listening to. All right, so I've been bouncing. And I've been bouncing into two formats. One blast, one burst. One shot, one burst. So it'll be a curation process after that. But I've bounced 143 of these already. And so far I've done the first batch, which is maybe slightly more on the cartoony side of things. We'll have to see how that kind of feels when we're all done. But those are starting here. Some of them are pretty cool. Fatty. I like that one. All right. So those are my shots thus far. Knocked out some bursts too. I bet there's probably at least 20, 30 good ones in those shots. Some of these bursts here really quick. All right, so we're picking up in the middle of these, I guess, kind of cybernetic, hybrid, futuristic set here. This is a burst. 4. we'll have to do a whole pass of all of these. We'll end up with probably, I don't know, looking at where we are right now, we're at 150 sounds. We've got 3 full sets. I'm gonna guess like maybe around 600 sounds or so, and then we'll we'll curate that down to um, around 250 sounds or so, probably, give or take. Yeah, so like stuff like that will just end up in the junk drawer. It's just to add quite a bit of brightness to this last bit here in, say, 5K and up range. Cap it around 15K. We'll just shape this and we'll put a little extra width and tone on this guy. Let's take out some lows and some highs. It's a little bit better. It's over a bit more. And let's scoop out of here. Let's just take and extend this bandwidth up around 5K. Take a little bit of the low out of there as well. And then we'll go into here and we'll bump this down below 1K. And we're gonna add some tonal control here by bumping the lows a fair bit. That's a little bit better. A little more. That's better. That's a little better. Now let's just get back to our mids here. That's nice. Get that little flanger twang in there. This one we can use. Oh, actually, before we move on, let's just dip into a little bit of feedback. Yo, Eric's, welcome in. Let's clean this up a bit. All right, let's, if we could just shrink this whole thing with that speed up. All right, now let's back this up. Maybe just a little bit less. But less still. That's pretty fast. What if we actually take this up? Just cut into it. Ooh, there we go. There we go. Let's go just a little bit shorter than that even. Just about right. There we go. That's pretty wicked. We'll keep that one. Technically still a burst here. Eric's, yeah, what kind of dummy are you working on? Actually, let's fade up on this guy. Oh. Let's just curve that a bit. Ooh, that's so nice. Splitting that band right there. Getting some of those untouched subs in there. That feels nice. Alright, let's take this top. Split this. Oof, oof. Take this guy. Butter. That's some pretty squeaky interaction. Just out of curiosity, if we were to flip that off and take this whole thing down just like 2 steps. Whoa, what just happened there? What? Wait, go back. Okay, let's try that again. Transpose. Whoa, what is going on there? It's a fun little glitch. That's pretty interesting. All right, well, we can kind of lean into this little speak and spell kind of wind up here. Can ramp up in that. All right, and then we can take this guy, just a tiny little power down here. Yeah, and then if we were to get into, well, I like this patch, but if we just reload it, yeah, then we can get rid of some of this resonance here. Okay, cap that. That's it. Pyrochem music, welcome in. Happy Monday to you. Eric, I don't know if you heard me, but you can absolutely drop something in if you like. I'm not going to turn it into a feedback stream or anything, but happy to help where I can. I kind of just want... this guy right here. Round off the transient ever so slightly. This guy off. Let's truncate the heck out of it. Rocket launcher type. Oof. I don't think we're getting enough wind up any for there to be any kind of context. Oh, what? Getting a little bugginess out of logic this morning. Nah. Pyrochem says, I have a question. You're old enough. Reel to reel, do you know how to simulate the sound quality that a reel to reel makes in Pro Tools or any DAW? Make 80s sounding music, and I may have found a way to get a reel to reel mix and master. Oh, nice. Yeah, so it's tape, right? So there's going to be like the type of degradation you're going to hear is going to be like wow, flutter, drift, compression, and a little distortion. Kind of depends, and noise, obviously, but kind of depends on exactly what kind of like affect you're going for specifically. Yeah. I first learned how to splice on reel to reel. Okay, so we can mask this. Let's bring it up just a little bit closer here. It's a little closer. Let's bring this back. All right, let's chop that. Bounce. I still need to update my trash. All right, let's get some weird stuff here. We need... Yeah. Hmm. I'm going to come back to the set. Hearing something in it. I'm going to give this a little color. We'll revisit it. Pyrokim is saying, so my first step, I take a demo, then mix and master it as if it's the final product, turn it into a wave stem, and then run a double master track, then I EQ to pitch frequency of the key I am in. Then when I go back in, I make more sounds and grooves and whatnot as if the track did not exist, and then sing my vocals in between the back master track demo and the finish track up front. Hmm? Yeah. Following that. And you're just wondering if what you're producing is something that people could buy into as like a reel to reel kind of recording. You can totally put ears on it. It'd be great to be able to clean up little bit into here. I don't know if I have the patience for that right now. I'm not going to chase this too much longer. Give me the simulation as if I'm using reel-to-reel. Or I drop the example track. Oh yeah, absolutely. Forgot the last step. I also bounce the track onto different grades of MP3 as well and consolidate it, give it a grainy texture too. Multi-step process. Yeah, bunch of different steps here. Here, go into the Discord and drop it into public feedback. Ooh, Tomba drops something here. If we see Tomba walk in the door here today, you guys remind me to go in here and check this out with him. Man, we had a bunch of new folks show up on Friday this last week. I think we had like 1,000 people here or something. We had Danny on the show again. Oh, I think you got a little extra space in there, homie. There you go. Sophian, welcome in. Man, tell you what, make thousands of pew pews, and all you can really hear is pew 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 pew. All right, let's listen to this thing that Pyrochem's working up. Ooh, I like the aesthetic of the double image here. This is cool. I like this. All right, so let's listen. And you're just wondering about the authenticity kind of effect of it all, right? Yeah, let's do it. Sophian. If I'm saying that right, you can absolutely correct me in the chat. I don't like butchering people's names. Okay, cool. You can drop it right after Pyrochem's here. Yeah, so let's talk through this because I feel like what you've got here feels a little bit more digital in nature, but also the sounds that are recorded throughout this process are more synthetic than a lot of what we would have heard on reel to reel back in the day. So we're not really comparing apples to apples here. Um, what are we comparing? Um, I'm not quite sure what we would say. It's similar, um, but I think the forms of degradation are different. This feels a little bit closer to VHS than it would reel to reel to me. I mean, they're both tape, and we're getting pretty nitpicky here, right? Because obviously, what you're doing is you're imparting this sense of like age and imperfection, this quality of uh, not necessarily brittle, but um, vulnerable, I guess. Um, right? Like if it's worn this much, how much more could it wear? How far from the full spectrum of sound are we? We already get that sense that like something has happened to this. So in that sense, I think you're doing really well. I think it really comes down to the aesthetic of the project and what you're really wanting from it. Because if it is more reel to reel, then I would say remove the MP3 processes and insert instead some more authentic tape emulation um, processing is probably what I would do because with the MP3 what's happening is there are actual bits being lost, right, which is a digital degradation. um, so little tiny pieces of information are coming out, which is a little bit different than the type of restrictions that are in play for different mediums like tape or vinyl or whatever. Um, so yeah, this kind of happens to align well with the type of sounds that are in the actual track. And I think if what we heard was, you know, if you were to run like some old, I don't know, some Carpenters or something, like something old, right? Some Peter, Paul, and Mary or something through this setup in your DAW, I think that would give you a clearer idea of how close you actually are, because you'd be hearing the right kind of instruments and whatnot going through there, um, to give you, you know, a little bit more of an apples to apples kind of um, assessment, I guess, of this whole thing. Try to give it a more of Depeche Mode. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So this does have a little bit of the Depeche Mode kind of sound. Um, Black Celebration. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yeah. So it is closer to that. But again, uh, what's missing in that is that Mode was all tape. And the digital recordings just didn't even um, they just didn't really even exist yet, right? I mean, that the compression. So um, yeah, I think I'd steer you in that direction, right? Because the other thing that this is missing is what you're substituting for, like the subtle tape hiss that occurs, the noise that's that it kind of grows over time to that tape hiss. Um, you're kind of replacing that with uh, lower quality, like lower fidelity, and those are two different things, I think. So I think that's where this kind of nuanced difference is occurring. Um, yeah, the rest of your stuff, I mean, as far as your thinking is going and trying to create all of this, it's good. I think the best thing you could do, honestly, is just record it to tape. You know, and then that would give you the most authentic kind of take on the whole thing, right? As far as you wouldn't need to be emulating anything, you actually would have some tape in there. Another thing you can do is audition a whole bunch of different tapes, right? So if you have some old tapes with some stuff on it, what you could do is, if it's not um, valuable to you in any way, you can record over that, right? And then play back just that tape noise and then layer that into your track. There are also just a ton of different tools. If you have Reaktor from Native Instruments, you can go to the Reaktor user library and download the VHS ensemble. I'll give you some really, really great stuff. Now, at extreme levels, it'll give you weird wonkiness all over the place. But at subtle levels, like what you would actually be listening to stuff back on, here, let's just put a little something in here for you so you get a kind of a sense of what would be happening. We'll put in this 12-string guitar because that's just totally like what you're producing. I'm kidding. But what we will do is we'll listen to a little VHS on here. So I'm just going to put this at the end of the chain that they've got on here already. All right, so there's a few different versions of this plugin, and they're all really great. I don't even think you need to worry about what the differences are between any of them. I would just grab one and then start playing with them. But it gives you a lot of different options like mic emulations and pre or post process, and you have 3 different hum controls and hiss and crackle and noise controls, right? And that's all independent of all of the stuff down here, which affects your tone, your drive, your filter cutoffs, the shape and rate of your flutter and wow and all that kind of stuff. So I would probably steer you more in the direction of a more streamlined and singular process for a couple of different reasons. One, you're putting forth effort that ultimately isn't translating exactly in the way that you want or need it to get to that specific outcome, and you could get there with less steps. And those steps could include things that are a little bit more aligned with what you're actually going for. Just some really interesting controls in a tool like this, right? Because it gives you so many things in one interface to play with. It's a really good thing. Here, let's just play through a couple of the presets and then we'll move on. Yeah, so this one's pretty good. Oh yeah, I see. So specifically, the reason you're hellbent on giving the reel-to-reel sound is because when Depeche Mode came around in the '90s, they used reel-to-reel in Pro Tools. At the same time, and in my opinion, made a timeless classic rock sound. Yeah, I am a huge. I was very much into Depeche Mode when all of that was coming out, and I went and I saw them live, and I had all the albums, and went to all the clubs, and there's a huge list of reasons why they were so great. And if you're really wanting that, then chase the tape stuff. Don't get it confused with the digital stuff. They were in early Pro Tools adoption, but this is, think of an early DAW as, I mean, even as a DAW stands right now, as we're looking at it, this is an advancement upon a tape machine. This is a multi-track tape machine that is on steroids, basically, right? We've taken it into the virtual realm to allow us to affect signals in ways that we typically couldn't. But it's all modeled after everything that was built out of tape. So, even within the DAW itself, you have things like variable tempo control, stuff like that, right? To emulate warble and wow and drift and stuff like that. But these tools make it really, really simple. And there's also a lot of analog emulation baked into a lot of these tools, which is pretty flippin' sweet. I mean, it really, really is. Um, if you're wanting to accomplish something very similar without one of these tools, you can use Chorus is a really simple way to introduce these micro delays, which a lot of time is what's causing that kind of phasey, chorusy, warbly um, uh, effect in a lot of recordings that kind of come close to the effect. But the big thing to remember is that the quality was still good. Like the types of degradation we're talking about here were not considered degradation then. They were considered advancements then. So the fidelity, the quality of sound was good, and it was enjoyable to listen to. So when we start to remove little bits of our sound, it's kind of missing how the original sound was achieved. So, oh, this is free. This is free, Pyrochem. If you use Reaktor from Native Instruments, then you can just download this from the user Reaktor library. If you do not have Reaktor from Native Instruments, you can go get a free version of it. I'm not sure if you can load everything from the Reaktor user library in the free version. There are other tools like this, though. But I would run some searches on tape emulation plugins because that's really what you're looking for here. And that's going to get you way close to the sound that you want. And then remember also that the like the quality and the integrity of the individual sounds in the recordings from something like Depeche Mode had their own unstable qualities because they were very much analog. So if you're wanting to explore like the whole gambit, what I would really, really strongly advise is to learn how to make modern sounds in modern synths sound more analog. It's quite simple. You just have to know which things to touch and how to do it with a nuanced gentle touch. But those are the two big tips I'd give you to get closer. Use a quad chorus on the backtrack. Yeah. As long as I can find one for Mac 1010. Oh, that's fine. You shouldn't have any worries because most reactor things were made a long time ago and they continue to run. So I don't think you have a concern there. And I run Mac stuff for years and years here as well. So yeah, steer it in that direction and see what happens. Oh, someone else had some. Sophian had demo in here. Yamaha motif. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you've got the synth thing on lock. So now it's just getting the aesthetic. Can't urge enough to keep it really, really simple. Once you have more than one process in place and you're using anything time-based like chorus, and then you try to add another round of processes to it, it quickly gets away from you. The stuff that really nails it is the stuff that uses these processes as final finishing agents, like final touches. Yeah, staying really true to the individual sounds, then mucking them up all en masse. Sophian, we can do yours. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not a feedback stream, but we can totally do yours. So you also make your sounds as much as you can. Yeah, absolutely. You should. I think it's great. Especially for the aesthetic that you're going for, right? Absolutely. Don't pay much attention to the intro, but was going for a rock hip hop type of thing, little JPEG Mafia. I don't know exactly, but want to have that experimental sound. Cool. Yeah, you are welcome, Pyrochem. Welcome.
You fucking Arab from Naseret. Stop being delusional. No, you're not. You wanna be. Fucking tryhard. It's not you, nigga.
Yo, Sophia, so I think there's a few opportunities for things like drum fills, little reversals, quick little suckbacks, clever little ear candy here and there for interest. But I think all in all, you've got a pretty cool track. I think you need to wrangle in frequencies and loudness in a few different places. Like the bass is really cool. The sub bass does need to come down a good 9-10 dB. You probably need to bring the low end cutoff of the entire track up to 40 hertz, 12 dB per octave curve. You probably need to wrangle all the frequencies and the guitar reverb. And I do wonder if your reverbs are being put right onto the tracks or if your tracks are being bussed to an auxiliary track and then the reverb is being put on there. Because I think it should be the latter. I think it should be parallel reverb. Right now, it kind of feels like a lot of stuff is in full reverb effect. And it's kind of the difference between putting a snare drum in a room versus putting the room into the snare drum and trying to figure out why it isn't quite sounding right. So there's a couple of things here with levels and frequencies where things can be tighter. And then once that's there, I think you'll probably start to hear opportunities for what could be done differently. Like for instance, right here. So we've got this kind of droning single stab note, the boom, and then the guitar comes in over the top of it. So that single note, that could be treated differently. Right now it feels like it's in the distance and it's kind of more closely related to the bell in the background, right? But really it's paired up with this guitar up in the front of the mix, right? So you could play with bringing that right up front, like as a transition effect almost, right? Maybe it starts in the back with the bell and then it kind of comes up to the front or something. And you could do that by actively like taking out the reverb, turning up the volume, bringing it closer to center, right? Automating a few changes at once and then layering in a little reversal or suckback sound effect. So there's a little kind of moment. And then that sound is now focused and it's in the center and it's up front, right? And now it's really aligned with the guitar. And now these two things have like joined forces and now we're going forward in some sort of awesome power play. You know what I mean? So I think once you have levels in the right place, you'll start to hear things coming into place and different maneuvers that you could be making. But definitely lean into the emotional impact in this next phase of production. Like don't be on the lookout for things that you can tighten up with an EQ only. Also be on the lookout for things that you can do like adding a drum fill because it's going to add added pace and energy and excitement, right? No, a bus. Maybe you have too much. Yeah, okay. So if it's all in parallel, then yeah, make sure that the balance is good, that it's not being pushed too far to the wet. And the other thing is make sure that you have an EQ directly after your reverb on those auxiliary channels and that you're only allowing through part of the frequency range. And the reason is because you still need the original sound to shine through. So your EQ on those channels might look pretty restrictive. You know, they might look something like this, or maybe even tighter in some cases, like this. And that's totally fine, right? Because what you don't want is a whole bunch of frequencies down here in the reverb channels floating around, or even up here. So. I think that's all I got for you on this one. Yeah, this one's about balance, I think. Reapproach. You can also even take a full new swing at it, like make a full copy of your project and bring all your faders down to 0 and do a whole new fresh volume mix on the thing and see how different it is from your first one. If it's noticeably different, it should inform you of a couple of things. One, you didn't really have like a set decision made or like hierarchy of sounds going into the mixing phase of the project, which is fine. But that also means that you have an opportunity now to figure out if what you made the first time is something that you really, really like, right? If it is the alignment of sounds that you want to roll with. And if it isn't, and the second one isn't quite there, then it tells you immediately, right, do it again. You can learn a lot from doing that with your music, honestly, because you get to know quite intimately the different faces of your music depending upon what you're accenting. Yeah. All right. Back to the pew pew pews. Yeah, you know, volume mixing is great. And I think the other thing that is a lot of fun is the arrangement part of it. Like a lot of people get arrangement and composition confused. They're like, oh, I wrote the song and it goes like this. It goes from A to B and that's it. But actually, once you have your idea out there, you can start chopping it up and moving it around any way you like. There's different things you can play with. There's different things you can play with, and you can even like double up your guitar, right? And on the different guitar tracks, you could have maybe 2 different distortion profiles, and maybe that second guitar track is only there so that other distortion profile can be heard for like a total of 3 seconds in the song or whatever. You know what I mean? But it's just there to give you this slightly different twist in this one moment, and then boom, it's gone. But when you start to be a bit more fluid and you're thinking about your music at that point of the process, everything starts to become a little bit more fluid in general, you know? 900J, man, welcome in. Poor pew pew pews are waiting like, hey, man, what happened to us, man? Boke! How you doing, homie? Excellent. Yeah, I'm glad that makes sense. I'm glad that vibes with you. You got some sounds. What'd you bring? You bring some of those. Oh, this is the really screechy. I'm going to put this off. I'm going to put this on. Come over here. Take this off. I'm going to go listen to the last one that I made. That's this one. Yes, it is. Okay. I probably already guessed it. You're right. Just let me know when you've got stuff in there and you're ready. J-Man. We'll do another one. If you want to do one more, we'll do one more. We're going to listen to the sounds that Boknero brought in first. Yeah, I'm not down with all of this, so I'm just going to take all of that off. Let's just go thunk. That's better. Oh. That can even be shortened up. Eh. And now we're back into just shots. Shots, shots, shots. 81. All right, let's give this thing a like thumpy little something punchy. Yeah, like this. But let's take off this. Let's give this a tiny little fade here. Yeah. Okay, now instead of this, let's bring this over like a power down. No. No, that's stupid. Nope. Da-da. So oops. Heyo. All right, let's bring down our heat a bit. That's pretty close. I think we'll roll with that one. But I think if we give this just a little wiggle, and we delay that wiggle by just a fraction of a second. Yeah. let's just give this also. Just give this also a little bit of feedback on top of all of that. Oh, I don't think that's gonna... Here, let's see if that gets out of the way in time. This will be 83. I don't know that that's gonna end the way that we really want to without editing it for... No, it doesn't. So here, let's trash that. Oh, where's the one that I'm looking for? I'm gonna have to make my own. Oh, you know what we can do? Let's just do this old school here. This is do not want. We'll just put an extra EQ in here, and we'll just force a little resonant spike in here. Yeah, let's put it maybe right over here. Battlecruiser operational. All right, Boke. Oh, I have a message from Liz. All right, Boke. You ready? All right, let's do this. Again. Yeah, I don't think it's like a squealing tires that you're missing, but I feel like there's a texture that you're missing with the thing just like taking off after revving up all that much. It could be like metal on metal grating or something, or it could be metal on concrete or something kind of like that. It doesn't have to be like overly harsh or anything. It could just be like a surface layer on something in there. And then I think that'll help with the whole, propulsive component. These are engine legs, basically. Yeah. Yeah, here I want to hear that moment again because there's this kind of sense of thrust here as well, too, right? Yeah, so there's like this, it's like an engine roar or something, this roar. I think maybe if you take that out and you put in turbine sounds instead, something that continues to go up instead of this kind of growly thing, I think that wouldn't bump me. Let's see what this one is. Yeah, yeah, yeah. This feels like a motorcycle, right? And he's like kicking in these cookies here. Yeah, he doesn't have wheels, so burning rubber doesn't quite seem right. This is very close. There is something. I'm not sure what it is that you could be doing for it. Um, it can be. I'm just thinking about the colors that are on display while he's spinning around. Um, hmm. Hear me out. This might sound really weird, but if you took something like a little like xylophone kind of thing and you ran it through a resonator and distorted it, that might sound really freaking dope for something like this. These are just exhausts on his legs. Yeah, it's not a car. You're right, and a motorcycle wouldn't work either. So the revving engine wouldn't work, and he does. He has got like jets for legs, so moving towards like a turbine kind of thing or burning vapor would be closer, right? But then also you can just have like this resonant whine in there, kind of like these really high propulsion or like high velocity propulsion engines and stuff. Um, My Hero Academia. Um, Ooh, you know what else might be kind of good? Recording a top. Recording a top, spinning around, and then putting that through a resonator. Basically, putting something through a resonator and then distorting it is probably going to be your best friend here, but something that can also impart a sense of like directionality and propulsion momentum with the with that spin. Hmm. Yeah, let me look this up. Tanya Lita. It's really hard to make a fitting sound for this character. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, okay, so you know what though? Um, like in this design anyway, he has like smokestacks here. Like he's got exhaust. So this would be you could get away with something like a motorcycle type. If you had kind of like a cybernetic approach to it. So hear me out here. An example of that would be like a Tron bike. Um, yeah, something like that might be kind of cool, right? Because you've got the ability to play with pitch and kind of that uh, never-ending wind-up. right? And then pitch rise could be indicative of increasing speed, right? And just making it more tonal. Maybe that's the way to do this. Try taking inspiration from the anime itself, but their sound design is nothing like this. Yeah. That's tough. trying to sell someone on something that takes like several episodes to really heat up. They've already given up on it. Okay, so this blitzing talon, they said to make it sound very menacing. All right, let's check this one out. Hey, Boke, remember like a year ago when you hadn't done any of this and it was all just like how do I make these things? Remember then? I think maybe if you isolate this sword sound a little bit more here. I think the ring that you've got along with that sword draw is hanging out just a little bit too long, and it's stepping on the aerial things dropping down here, making contact. That was cool. That was cool. Right before that, there's this moment where it can be a little bit cleaner. Oh, it's when he's moving. It's when he's moving. Right here. He's moving from this position back over here to this position here, and then back again. Let's listen to everything that's happening in that second. So for me, I would probably I would record a ball, like a marble. And what I would do is I would take like the top lid of a shoebox or a top lid of like a board game. And I would put the marble in there and I'd put the microphone right underneath it. And I would roll the marble across that cardboard box lid a few times. And then I would also make a recording of trying to go around with it like this. And then I would take those sounds and I would use them as the action sounds for that dude. As he's rolling around, I would layer in the sound of that marble rolling. And to get it to sound really good, I would probably drop it a few semitones. And then I would probably give it a little surface texture with a little bit of saturation. And then I would take out the sound that you've got in there for motion right now. And then what that will do is it'll be a little less confusing between sound design for melee versus sound design for transport, for motion, right? Exokiz, what's up, dude? This one was rushed. Didn't have lots of time. I have most inspired ideas. Well, it's all just part of making it happen, right? Like just looking at the thing and figuring out what do I have like within arm's reach that I can use right now to just get this done. All right, let's check out this one here. Well, right away I want something for these purple lights. What is that? What's the source of the power there? Is this darkness? Okay, the other thing is that I've got basically the same kind of impact debris kind of stuff happening throughout this. So let's compartmentalize these three main things here. First, there's this big impact, and it's like got this downward velocity. Okay, so the debris fall is kind of separate. We don't really see that happening. There's something missing here. Oh, I see. There's an extra impact sound. Right there. There's an impact sound here. It's like before he actually stomps down, I think. It's like his leg is up here. This is at 1 second. I see what's happening here. He kind of puts his head or his foot on the head and then he like smashes it. I see. I would do something less impactful for that than the putting it on his head, and then I would make it more of like a squeeze and crush thing than it is like the downward impact sound that you had, the same kind of downward impact that you had previously. Because this right here is most definitively a downward impact, so that is deserving of that kind of impact. But this, where he's just like squishing this head into submission, feels more like something just gives ultimately, like a kind of a sound instead. But I think that there's an immense amount of power on display here, right? So there's got to be something for that. Maybe it's like a hydraulic press. Maybe it's I would probably layer in a couple of melons being smashed into that. Those purpley things are actually portals. Warp portal. Okay. He doesn't use portals in the cutscene. Okay. Warp portals. Now I'm curious. Okay. Gateway miss. Oh. Yeah. Let's do this again. Okay, I think there needs to be, because he's translocating, right? So he needs to have a little suck back and then a reveal. Okay, so it's going to be like a... Wait, see that again. Okay, I see how they're... Yeah, so I think it's two things. I think it's a suck back, and then I think it's probably like a textile ruffle, like a sheet that gets ruffled, like a like that. So you're coming out of this thing. And I think it's basically layered into what you already have. Because what you have there is like the aesthetic of the game. You just need the like the effect of something happening in space-time that's like it's making matter disappear. I don't know why the portals even appear if all he's doing is just dashing forward in like 0.1 milliseconds. Yeah, I think something like a suck back is probably the best thing you can do, and then the furling, the like the textile ruffle or rustle would have to just be like a downward. It would be a full recording would be you lifting up the thing, whether it be a shirt or a sheet or whatever. Maybe it's a shirt, so it can happen quicker, and then you can pitch it down. So you just like that. So the first sound is just a suck back. It can just be like a sound of you punching your hand like that, right, with a little bit of reverb on it, and then reverse that, make that into a really clean kind of filtered down suck back, right? So that'll just be like a little, and then on the other side you've got a little, but all of that transpires in less than half a second. So it's all just going to be like a, and the little wiggle in that ruffle will make it feel like it aligns visually, I think. All right, let's hear this one. That was quick. Okay. I like this. I like this. I think it does need a little bit more kind of thing. And then the dropping, the snarky guy in me wants like an elevator ding, like ding, like elevator doors just open, all of a sudden you're just like, you're doomed. Dude, it's just dropping down on your face. Ding. I mean, you've kind of got that already with that tonal bell kind of sound in there. It's pretty fun. That would be fire, right? Ding. Second floor, ladies' lingerie, your face, boom. Again. Yeah, okay, so this is another good example of where there can be a more clear delineation between sound effect for transport versus sound effect for melee, right? Like moving from one space to the next. I'm not sure if I'm hearing footsteps. Let me hear. He's not really on the floor. That's tough. This one might be... except this is a portal being shot. Assuming if that portal hits something, that thing is going to go... right? So then it kind of feels like it should be like a... So this feels like a... Oh. There's a rhythmic quality to this. If you get rid of that rhythmic quality, this might feel better. It might. I don't know. This one, these last couple, they're tough because they're happening in such a short amount of time. I think you're doing a really good job. Well, this one bumps me a little bit because it feels different than what the portals were doing previously, sound-wise. So one thing we need to discuss here is continuity from one scene to the next. We pick one sound for the portals and let that kind of guide what happens in all of the scenes thereafter. Let's see this again. All right, so it's a portal power, assuming then that this would be kind of like a void if someone were to succumb to it, right? Or get sucked into it or something. So maybe instead of this kind of more liquidy sound where it feels like we're on the surface of something, maybe it's kind of the inverse of that. So it's kind of this almost like submerged kind of filtered, obfuscated kind of thing. So now as we're slipping between that power and someone being overcome by that power, we slip into that sound. So it's highly indicative of what's happening, right? So if someone gets swallowed by this portal field or super void or whatever it is, like it's like we're hearing their experience, like right? So it all kind of gets sucked away and obfuscated and filtered, and then somehow breaks free for a second, full sound is disclosed, and then sucked back in. Kind of something like that would be kind of cool. That is a finisher. All right, let's see what this one is. Why are we not playing? Let's see what this is. All right, again. Okay, a couple things. As this thing is thrown, I feel like we need to have the sound of something being thrown through the air. And it's got a movement to it. I think kind of what we were talking about before, like the ruffling textile type thing is a solid choice here because anything that's even remotely tonal in regards to the melee sequences won't bump up against that. Okay, the other thing that I'm thinking here is as we're seeing the dummy go ding 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 ding, it'd be fun to get like a slot machine sound or something like that going in this sequence here. Or if not a slot machine wheel, then maybe like one of those raffle wheels, like, you know what I'm saying? Where you hear the little plastic piece flick past each one of the nails on the pegboard, that kind of thing. That might be kind of cool. It could also just be like some sort of like kid's toy, like a kid's xylophone or something, and you space maybe 3 steps between your mallets or something, and it's just like and then you put that through some like granular, like some portal or something, and filter it down. Something to kind of give you the sense of like, what are we going to get? Startup doesn't have a sound because I only needed to show the hit sound. Cool. If you realize it's the same move you saw 2 clips back, I think. Yeah, except for this one is like him falling out of the sky continually versus the other one, the guy attacked from above coming down and hitting the guy, right? So you're right. The sequence can begin with the same kind of sound, but this is just a repetitive version of that first one, right? It's a pretty interesting power. Right, Boke is saying this is another version of this. You can hear the crushing sound before the impact. Ooh, yeah, again. Yeah. Yeah, I kind of have the same reaction. Like, I kind of want that first step down to be different and for there to be kind of like this growing pressure and then finally a collapse of some kind for the head squish. That's a brutal move. That's just a straight up brutal move. Oh, and this is the picture they gave for reference. This is the portal character. Whoa. Interesting. Interesting looking dude. Yeah, Bogue. Yeah. What is Liv saying to me over? Oh, I love you, Liv. You're wonderful. Oh, you got a brutal one? One of your best works? Okay, yeah, you let me know when it's up. Oh, yes, that's where we were. Oh, let's turn off these things here. Oops, 85. We're just going to chop this just a little bit, and we're going to give it just a little bit of a wind up. Yeah, like that. Maybe just a little bit longer than that. A little less tone. There we go. Let's take this. That's a weird sound. I think Logic is not liking the fact that I have so much happening on one cut-up track here. It's not what it's supposed to be doing. Yeah, okay, that's not gonna. I get it. Yeah, okay. You on. Oh, right, I can't do that in this project. I'm gonna skip this one. I don't really like that one either right now. No. And this one? Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm either losing interest in the set or I just don't really like any of those. That one's okay. Get rid of this. Got two very different sounds here. Back into burst again. Okay, and then let's get out of the burst and just take a look at this guy here. Nah. Moving on. Yeah, we'll do this one. This one feels all right. So. Maybe this one can have a little cousin. Oak is back. Okay. One of your best and brutal. Let's see. Yeah, there's a lot going on in this one. These are old. Yeah, I was going to say this one doesn't have the like the elemental alignment the same way that the newer ones do. Um, it's a long sequence here. What's this one? Nice. Nice. I do like the bass in that last hit there. Yeah. I think the one thing that is the really big differentiator between the work you were doing then and the work you're doing now is the uniqueness from one um, character to the next and their abilities to the next. Um, there's greater difference between each one. You're less reliant upon the same things. Yeah. A lot of boom. Yeah, a lot of boom. A lot of boom. You're less reliant upon the boom as well. I'm just sitting here thinking about all of the growing that you've been doing in the last year. It's really quite incredible. You've done a bunch. Big ups, man. Big ups. This is what I was talking about earlier, Boke, about like the difference between like with the portal effect, right? The difference between like being on the outside of it versus being on the inside of it. Like the the full spectrum versus the like obscured. It's actually a pretty cool effect right there. Very anime. Kind of cool. Ooh. Kind of like magical and crystally. Boke is saying, I was thinking about making a full video where I put all of the sounds I've made for this game only, from oldest to newest. We can see how the sounds have improved. Would you be down to watch it? Yeah, I would, actually. I would. I think it would be really neat just to kind of see it on some kind of a timeline. It'd be great too if there was a little bit of annotation in the video. You know, like 1 year ago, 9 months ago, 6 months ago, 5 months ago, whatever. That'd be fun. When am I streaming again? It'll be Wednesday. 2 days. Also, are you making futuristic weapon sound effects? Yes, I am. I am making futuristic weapon sound effects. Boom. There you go. I'm wrapping up this. It's a new series that I'm starting for over at Ghost Hack. First 78. Nice. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Boke, you take care, homie. Keep killing it, man. Doing great over there. And y'all, I need to power down so I can go pick up my kid here in a bit. And I want to stay super productive before I have to walk out the door to go do that. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to leave you all here. Let's see who is streaming right now. We'll go drop this short bus off somewhere. But we'll be back in 2 days' time on Wednesday. You guys want to come and hang out? We'll be doing something production-wise. And we'll also take a look at what Boke has been up to over the past year. We're going to look at it in a timeline, we've decided. See exactly how much growth has taken place in the last year. That should be kind of fun. I challenge all of you guys to go back and look at awesome stuff like that. Let's go see what kind of shredding Spaceman is doing today. Listen to some shredding guitar together or something. Oh, he might actually be gaming. I wonder if he's making music and gaming. I have no idea. This does not look like music. Let me go back. Well, gosh, nobody is doing any music apparently right now. All right, we'll go raid Spaceman. I appreciate you guys, and I will see you guys again on Wednesday. Until then, I hope you stay inspired and productive. Make something new, something fun. Step out of your box. Make something really awesome. And we'll listen to it on Friday. And until then, know that you're appreciated. See you later. Peace out.